The sun beat down on a quiet Arizona highway, the kind of place where the silence stretches for miles. An old blue van sat on the gravel shoulder, its hood popped and engine steaming. Next to it, a young woman in a white tank top and jeans wiped grease from her hands onto a rag. Her hair was tied back, her brow furrowed as she wrestled with a stubborn bolt. She looked out of place, not helpless, but determined. This wasn't her first breakdown, and judging by the toolbox beside her, she didn't plan on calling for help. A black SUV approached from the distance, slowing as it neared the van. It rolled to a stop a few yards behind her. The door opened, and out stepped a man in uniform, tall, sharply built, and unmistakably military. 4 silver stars glinted on his collar. General Marcus Ellison had spent the last 30 years commanding troops across continents. He had seen war, chaos, and the best and worst of humanity. But nothing had prepared him for what he saw when the woman turned. Her arm was extended as she reached into the engine, revealing a tattoo on her shoulder. Simple. Sharp. Familiar. He froze. His boots stopped in the dirt. His hand hovered near his belt. His face paled, and his breath caught in his throat. Because the ink on her arm wasn't just any symbol, it was the crest of a classified unit. One that hadn't existed publicly in over 2 decades. A unit that only 5 people were known to have survived. And one of them was supposed to be dead. The woman noticed him standing there, silent and unmoving. She pulled her arm back from the engine and straightened up, narrowing her eyes at the stranger in uniform. "Can I help you with something?" she asked, her tone calm but cautious. General Ellison didn't respond at first. His eyes were locked on the tattoo, the same one etched into his own memory, tied to missions that were sealed in black ink and buried under top-level clearance. He took a slow step forward. "Where did you get that ink?" he asked, his voice low, almost reverent. The woman didn't flinch. She crossed her arms, subtly positioning herself between him and the van. "Why? You gonna write me a citation for unauthorized artwork?" she said, half joking but fully alert. "That's not just artwork," Ellison said, his gaze sharp now. "That mark, that was the emblem of Unit Echo Shadow." The name hung in the air like a forgotten ghost. The woman's face didn't change, but something in her eyes flickered. She turned and reached into the open driver's side door, pulling out a military dog tag. She tossed it toward him. He caught it, turning it over in his hand. His fingers trembled slightly. Name, S. Ramirez ID, 9027 Echo. It hit him like a punch to the chest. "You're Sierra Ramirez," he whispered. She nodded once. "But, they told us you were gone. That your whole team, wiped out in a mission no one will ever talk about," she cut in. "Yeah, that was the story. And I let them believe it." General Ellison's mind raced. This wasn't just a random encounter anymore. This was a ghost from the past, standing alive in front of him, someone who had vanished off the grid after one of the most controversial covert operations in recent military history. And if she was back, that meant something big was about to resurface. General Ellison glanced around, as if the desert had ears. He stepped closer, lowering his voice. "Why now? Why show yourself after all these years?" Sierra folded her arms and leaned back against the van. "I wasn't planning to. But someone found me. Someone who shouldn't even know I exist. And they didn't come to say hello." Ellison's jaw tightened. "You were attacked." She nodded. 3 days ago. 2 men, ex-military, but not officially tied to anything. They showed up at a gas station in New Mexico. Didn't say a word. Just came at me with suppressors and dead eyes. Like they were sent to erase me. "And you're still standing," he muttered. "Barely," she said, lifting her shirt slightly to reveal a stitched-up gash along her side. Ellison winced. "You need a medic." "I've had worse," she shrugged. "I need answers more than stitches." Ellison looked at her dog tags again, then pocketed them. They said Echo Shadow was decommissioned. That everyone was accounted for after the fallout. They lied, she said flatly. To you, to Congress, to everyone. And now whatever they buried is starting to claw its way back up. Ellison's expression darkened. Who's they? Sierra looked him dead in the eyes. The same people who signed our deployment orders. The same ones who scrubbed the records clean after what happened in Grozny Black Site. Ellison's blood ran cold. Grozny. That operation had nearly cost him his career, and almost started an international scandal that was quickly silenced. Then we don't have much time, he said. If they know you're alive, they'll send more. And if they're cleaning house, I'm not the only one left, Sierra interrupted. There's someone else. Off-grid, like me. He's next. Ellison nodded slowly. Then we find him. And fast. He turned toward his SUV, unlocking it. Get in. We're not safe here. Sierra didn't move. Before I go anywhere with you, I need to know one thing. Ellison paused. Did you sign the shutdown order? She asked, eyes burning. Silence. Then, no, he said. But I know who did. The SUV rumbled to life as they sped down the dusty highway, kicking up a storm of sand behind them. Sierra sat in the passenger seat, arms crossed, eyes locked on the horizon. General Ellison kept one hand on the wheel, the other resting near the concealed pistol on his hip. So who's the other survivor? He asked, breaking the tension. Call sign, Reaper, she said. Real name's Carter Wells. We were partnered for most of Echo's last deployment. After Grozny, he vanished. I thought he was dead too, until a burner phone I haven't used in 8 years lit up with one message. Ellison glanced at her. What did it say? They found me. That's it. Ellison gritted his teeth. Wells was intelligence, right? The best. If they have him, they're after data. And if he's still alive, he's probably on the run, or worse, captured. Ellison nodded grimly. Where would he go? Sierra pulled out a folded map from her bag, spreading it over the dashboard. She pointed to a remote mountain range near the Colorado border. Last time we spoke, before Grozny, he mentioned a safe house. Off-grid, military-grade shielding, backup supplies for months. Ellison frowned. That's deep wilderness. No roads in. Exactly why he'd go there, Sierra replied. And why we need to move now. If he's alive, he won't last long without help. Ellison's phone buzzed in the center console. He checked it, a restricted number. His eyes narrowed as he answered, Ellison. A cold, unfamiliar voice spoke, General. This is a courtesy warning. Turn around and forget what you saw. Sierra Ramirez died in 2008, and you do well to remember that. The line went dead. Sierra looked at him, face tight. They're watching you. Ellison slowly put the phone down. They're watching both of us. A sudden sharp pop cracked through the silence, a bullet slammed into the rear window, spiderwebbing the glass. Ambush! Sierra yelled, ducking as a black pickup swerved onto the road behind them. Ellison floored the gas. This just got real, he muttered. The SUV roared forward, engine groaning as Ellison swerved onto a dirt trail leading into the desert hills. The black pickup behind them gave chase, its grille snarling like a predator. Gunfire erupted again, rounds slammed into the back of the SUV, sending glass and metal shards flying. Sierra ducked low, yanked open the glove box, and pulled out a compact submachine gun wrapped in cloth. You keep that in the glove box, she snapped. Ellison's eyes were locked on the road. Old habits. She popped the sunroof, stood halfway out, and returned fire. Her shots were precise, controlled bursts that clipped the pickup's fender and forced it to veer slightly. I count 3 shooters, she shouted over the wind. All military trained. Ellison gritted his teeth. Which means they're not just goons. These are cleaners. Yeah, and we're the mess. A round tore through the side mirror. Sierra ducked back in just as another bullet grazed the roof. We won't outrun them on open ground, Ellison said. Hold on. He yanked the wheel hard, sending the SUV barreling down a steep slope toward a dry riverbed. The vehicle slammed into the wash, bouncing violently over the rocks. The pickup hesitated at the top, then followed. Sierra clutched the handle as Ellison navigated the wash like a battlefield. We lose the trail in the canyon ahead. If we can make it there. A loud bang shook the vehicle, the rear tire blew out. Sparks flew. The SUV fishtailed but kept moving. We're losing it, she shouted. I know. Ellison growled. Prepare to bail. He slammed the brakes, swerved behind a sandstone outcrop, and skidded to a stop. Out. Now. They jumped out and ran for cover just as the pickup screeched to a halt above them. 3 armed men leapt from the truck, black tactical gear, 0 insignia. They're not here to talk, Sierra whispered, crouched behind the rocks. Ellison nodded, drawing his sidearm. Then we end this quickly. She smirked, adrenaline lighting up her eyes. Like old times? Exactly, he said, then added, only this time, no orders. Just survival. They split up, flanking the attackers from opposite sides. And for the first time in years, Echo Shadow was back in the fight. The canyon was deathly quiet, only the soft crunch of boots on gravel betrayed movement. The 3 operatives advanced cautiously, sweeping the area with disciplined precision. One of them stepped forward, scanning behind a boulder, crack. Sierra's shot hit him clean in the shoulder. He dropped, weapon clattering. Target down, she called out. The second man whirled toward the sound, but Ellison was already behind him. In one swift motion, he disarmed the operative and drove his elbow into the man's neck, dropping him cold. Only one remained, the squad leader. He turned and fired wildly, clipping the rock inches from Sierra's face. I'll flush him out, Ellison shouted, circling wide. Sierra ducked behind a crevice, waiting. The operative advanced, yelling, you don't know who you're messing with. Sierra stood, her weapon aimed steady. I do. You're the kind of guy who thinks orders are more important than truth. He fired, she dove, rolled, came up, and shot twice. Silence. The leader collapsed, motionless. Ellison walked over, checking for signs of life. Dead. Sierra exhaled hard. You still move like you're 20. I still think like I'm 20. My knees would disagree. They shared a dry laugh, the kind that comes from too many years in too many battles. But their moment was short-lived. Sierra knelt beside the squad leader and pulled a phone from his pocket. No lock screen. Just a single open app, a blinking red dot on a map. Tracker, she said grimly. We've got minutes before more show up. Ellison checked his watch. We'll never make it to the safe house on foot. Sierra looked back toward the pickup. Then we borrow theirs. They jogged to the truck. Sierra climbed into the passenger side, rifling through a black satchel under the seat. She pulled out a tablet. Her expression darkened. Ellison, they were tracking more than just me. He looked over her shoulder. On the screen were dossiers, encrypted, but recognizable, Carter Wells. Sierra Ramirez. Marcus Ellison. And then a fourth name, Colonel Isaac Dorn. Ellison stiffened. Dorn's alive. Sierra nodded. And judging by this data, he's the one pulling the strings now. Ellison's jaw clenched. Then we're not just targets anymore. We're witnesses. She handed him the tablet. So what's the plan now, General? He stared at the blinking red map, the trail of secrets unfolding beneath it. We hunt the hunter. The stolen pickup barreled through the winding backroads of northern Arizona, its suspension groaning as it hit each bend and bump. Sierra sat in the passenger seat, typing rapidly on the recovered tablet, trying to break deeper into the encrypted files. Ellison kept his eyes on the road, glancing at the rearview mirror every few seconds. "No drones on us yet," he muttered. "But it's only a matter of time." "I'm close," Sierra said, swiping through layers of firewalls. Whoever built this system didn't expect someone with echo-level clearance to get their hands on it. Ellison gave a sideways glance. "You still have your access key?" She tapped the side of her dog tag. "Built into the alloy. Didn't ditch it like they wanted." Suddenly, a soft ping echoed from the tablet. Sierra's eyes widened. "Got it." A series of files unfolded on the screen, documents, mission logs, satellite footage, and then, at the bottom, a classified briefing titled, Project Obsidian, Initiation Protocol. Ellison's knuckles whitened on the wheel. He knew that name. Obsidian was whispered about years ago, a rumored operation involving domestic testing of battlefield tactics, rogue surveillance, and neutralization of internal threats. But it was shut down. Or so they were told. Sierra read aloud, operatives deemed compromised or unpredictable from high-risk units, to be monitored, neutralized if reactivated. Targets include former Echo Shadow members and affiliated command. She looked up. This wasn't just about silencing the past. It was about preemptive elimination. "They're killing people," Ellison said, "not because of what they did, but because of what they might do." Sierra's voice dropped. "And Dorn's leading it." That sick bastard flipped the playbook. Ellison's jaw tightened. He always had ambition. But this? This is treason in a suit and tie. She scrolled again. "Wait, there's more." A list appeared. Next phase, locate, Ramirez white heavy checkmark, confirm, Ellison white heavy checkmark, terminate, Wells hourglass not done, secure, Vault 9 archive exclamation mark. Ellison's eyes narrowed. Vault 9. Sierra nodded. That's where the original Grozny footage was stored. Everything that really happened. If they get there first, they'll erase the last piece of truth, he finished. She looked at him. "We need to get to Vault 9 before they do." He hit the gas harder. "Then let's find Reaper. And burn this operation to the ground." The pickup growled up a narrow mountain trail, twisting through thick forest as the elevation climbed. Clouds hung low, and the late afternoon sun was starting to dip behind the peaks. Sierra clutched the tablet, monitoring satellite pings and heat signatures, while Ellison navigated with a soldier's calm urgency. They were close now, within 5 miles of where Carter, Reaper, Wells had last transmitted from. Sierra glanced at the readout. Thermals picking up a faint signature at the coordinates. Small. Could be him. Could be bait. Ellison slowed the truck and killed the engine. "We go the rest of the way on foot." Quiet. They stepped out into silence, nothing but the rustle of wind through pine needles and the faint crunch of gravel under boots. The forest felt, watched. As they crested a hill overlooking a half-collapsed ranger station, Sierra froze. "There," she whispered. "Top window. Scope glint." Ellison dropped to a knee behind a fallen log. "Spotter." "Not ours," Sierra confirmed. "Not Reaper." A sharp whistle pierced the air, a code. 3 short, 1 long. Sierra's eyes lit up. "That's him." Reaper always used that call when an op was blown. Ellison rose slowly, hands visible. "Carter, it's Ellison. Sierra's with me. You're not compromised, yet." Another moment passed. Then a camouflaged tarp near the ranger station twitched, and a man in dirt-streaked tactical gear emerged from beneath it, rifle in hand. His beard was thicker, his hair longer, but those eyes, cold, calculating, always 2 steps ahead, hadn't changed. "General," Carter said cautiously. "You're a hard man to track." "Could say the same for you," Ellison replied. Sierra moved first, embracing him quickly. "You're alive." "Barely," Carter muttered, eyes darting to the ridges. "They're closing in. I've moved twice in 48 hours. We've seen the files," Ellison said. "We know about Obsidian. About Dorn." Carter's expression hardened. "Then you know Vault 9 is our only leverage. I have 1/2 of the encryption key. Dorn's team will be after it next." Sierra's brow furrowed. "Where's the other half?" Carter nodded toward his battered rucksack. "With me. But if I fall, it auto-wipes." Ellison nodded. "Then we keep you breathing." A sudden metallic click echoed from the trees. "Too late," Carter whispered. Red laser dots lit up their chests, 5, maybe 6 operatives closing in, completely surrounding them. A voice barked from the trees, "Drop your weapons. You are now enemies of the state." Ellison didn't move. "Not the state," he growled. "Just its worst secret." Sierra looked at him, calm and deadly. "Plan?" Carter grinned faintly. "Same as always." "Improvise," Ellison said. And then all hell broke loose. Gunfire erupted like thunder through the trees, short, precise bursts echoing in the dense forest. Ellison shoved Carter behind cover and returned fire, dropping one of the black-clad operatives before the rest scattered for better angles. Sierra spun low, drawing her sidearm and firing 2 quick shots into the flank. One enemy collapsed, another retreated behind a tree. "They're coordinated," Carter shouted, crouching beside a broken fire pit. "This isn't a capture mission, they're here to kill." Ellison gritted his teeth. "Then we turn the tables." He pointed to the ridge. "Sierra, left flank. Draw their fire. Carter, on my signal, break for the ridge line. We cut through and loop behind them." Sierra nodded and sprinted low through the underbrush, drawing a hail of suppressed bullets. Carter bolted as Ellison covered him, hitting 2 more targets with practiced, surgical shots. Sierra reached a rock shelf and tossed a flashbang from her vest. Boom, a blinding blast lit up the trees, buying precious seconds. Carter scrambled behind a fallen log, panting. "We're clear, for now." Ellison regrouped with them, reloading. "How many left?" Carter checked the heat signature scanner. 2. "They're regrouping to the northeast." Sierra wiped blood from a graze on her cheek. "We leave now, or we fight more just like them in 10 minutes. Ellison looked to Carter. "Vault 9. Where?" Carter reached into his pack and pulled out a black keycard, half-burned but still functional. "There's a facility buried beneath an old NORAD satellite station. Coordinates are in here." He handed over a chip drive. "Plug that into the mainframe and we dump everything, Grozny, Project Obsidian, all of it. But it's a one-shot. Power, time, everything has to line up." Ellison pocketed the drive. "Then we hit it tonight." Sierra's eyes narrowed. "And what about Dorn?" Carter's expression turned grim. "He'll be there. He's not sending others to handle this. Not anymore." Ellison looked out over the treetops, where the first stars began to pierce the darkening sky. "Then let's finish what they tried to bury." The old NORAD station loomed like a concrete ghost in the Rockies, long abandoned, decommissioned, and forgotten by most. But below its surface lay Vault 9, a classified bunker built to store the darkest secrets of forgotten wars. Ellison, Sierra, and Carter approached under the cover of night, dressed in scavenged black tactical gear, their breath fogging in the cold air. A storm rumbled in the distance, rolling in fast. "Entrance is here," Carter whispered, kneeling near a moss-covered hatch. He slid the keycard into a hidden panel, click. The metal door creaked open, revealing a stairwell that spiraled into darkness. Once we hit that server room, Sierra said, we upload everything, drop it straight to public archive nodes, and blast it across every open source we can find. Then we lock it down, Ellison added. No way back. They descended quickly, boots echoing in the narrow corridor. Lights flickered to life as they passed motion sensors, dim, cold blue. But before they reached the vault core, a voice echoed from the chamber ahead. I was wondering when you'd crawl back into the light. They froze. Colonel Isaac Dorn stood inside the server room, flanked by 2 armed guards. His uniform was pristine, his expression calm, too calm. You could have stayed ghosts, he said, stepping forward. You could have disappeared. But here you are, throwing away your lives for a pile of files that won't stop what's coming. Ellison raised his weapon. We're not here to stop what's coming, Dorn. We're here to expose what already happened. Dorn smirked. You think leaking this changes anything? The world doesn't want truth, it wants order. Control. Sierra's eyes narrowed. You mean silence. He glanced at Carter. And you were always the weak link. Hiding behind a firewall. Guess it burned you in the end. Carter calmly inserted the chip drive into the mainframe. No, he said. It's about to burn you. A deafening alarm blared, files began flooding through encrypted relays. Names, faces, missions, video evidence, everything Dorn spent years erasing now shooting into the light. Dorn's calm cracked. Take them out, he screamed. But Sierra was faster, one guard dropped before his weapon even cleared the holster. Carter tackled the other, disarming him in seconds. Ellison advanced on Dorn, gun raised. End of the line. But Dorn didn't resist. Instead, he stepped back, laughing. You think you've won? This machine may be loud, but the system? The system's quiet. It waits. Ellison pulled the trigger. Click. He had deliberately loaded a dummy round. You're not dying a martyr, Dorn, he said. You're going to prison, and you'll rot watching your empire collapse. Within minutes, federal marshals, tipped off by a deadman beacon Carter triggered earlier, stormed the bunker. Dorn was taken into custody. The files were verified and broadcast. Project Obsidian was exposed. Echo Shadow was cleared. Weeks later, Sierra stood at the edge of a national monument, the sun rising behind her. Carter sat nearby, fiddling with an old comm device. Ellison, now formally retired, joined them with coffee in hand. We finally did it, Carter said. No, Ellison replied. You did. Sierra smirked. Now what? Ellison looked out over the horizon. Now we live. And if they ever try this again, he turned, eyes sharp. We'll be ready.